welcome, Lazaro. Good to see you again.
Hi, how are you doing? I'm
I'm doing good. So, welcome to another front lines. This front lines is more about I'd say this spiritual slash reality, energetic type of front lines, and we were discussing really a difference of what it takes to make a change, make things happen, right? Which means their action must be taken. And there are, and we were doing kind of I guess, a comparison between what is known as the love and light group, and I called the others the love and fight, because I see that we need to fight, right, and not to sit back and wait for things to happen, and that we must take every step that we can to head towards, a positive reality, right? And to manifest that reality, we have to take the steps to make it happen. But we also have to realize that that there is the opposite happening from the group, the deep state, the cabal, the Illumindonkeys, whatever you would like to name them, that they're doing exactly the opposite, right? They're
yeah,
manifesting, they're taking steps, they're at war. No holds barred, no stopping. Everything's in, all chips on the table. Everything is fire, get going, run, blast them. That you can see it all around. They're not going to just give up and go quietly into the night. They have to be taken out of the picture, and this involves so many different levels, so many different things, that we have to all take a stand. We have to stop the insanity that is being portrayed as, whether it is, oh, everyone has to wear a mask, school kids have to wear masks in school, we have to wear bio suits, stay 6 feet away, stay in our Borg cubicles, and this is a part of the battlefront, right? Is that what we're experiencing? Is some people that are going to remain in peace, and if that's what they're going to do, that's okay. But it's okay with them, but if it comes to a point where they end up not being, able to, just ascend into pure energy and stay completely out of the picture, right? They're going to have to at some point make a stand, and if they're never if they do it sooner, it actually makes this transition happen much faster. And that was kind of my point. And so we kind of got started talking about this. So go ahead. That was the intro into the topic of
yeah.
today. Love and light
Well,
versus love and light.
well, I'm gonna state that the idea of the love and light is a movement that I was involved with that situation because I used to always, tag my comments, love and light, Lazaro, love and light, love and light, love and light. Then I progressed into, um, forever love, and then love. Then one of the stable ones that I stay with mostly now is peace and love tag at the end. And it's kind of like a progressive thing that happens, which you start to realize that there are like two scribed ways that people decided that, okay, this is our boundaries. There's like a playing field where they separated the two players, and unfortunately they almost like playing against each other. One of them is the portion that would love to just uh, sit back, meditate, project love and light into the planet, bring in the light from source, and then love and project love, and then avoid focusing on any of the things happening on the planet, which in turn they believe that that'll bring and ascend the vibrations of the planet by, I guess you can call it blissful ignorance. So, which in turn then they'll ascend the whole planet's vibration, which then everybody will realize on their own that they got to do the same. So there's like then that relies heavily on a savior type of situation where they no longer are the ones capable to bring them out of this situation, because they're relying on forces and things being done for them. So it's pretty much a laid back reaction where, which me and Dan were talking about, is that we're kind of like bred into that, because when the lockdown started happening all over the nation and Trump said, hey, we're going to close this nation down, everybody said, oh, wow, that's great. You guys got to stay home. Really, a lot of people didn't complain because they like, staying home and not doing anything.
Well, if you
And
remember,
yeah,
just a little comment about that. It was for how long? 2 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then it went on to a
And,
month. No one
yeah.
complained, right? They said,
Right.
okay, it's a
Well,
month.
you got to. Everyone says, "Oh, well, I can use 2 weeks off, right? A little vacation, stay at home." Yeah, yeah.
No, no.
Oh, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Oh,
And
well,
then when
okay.
Trump said, "Oh, we're gonna give you a stimulus to help you out." Oh, wow. Then everybody said, "Oh, let's make this fun now." So you started hearing, we started seeing the commercials. People have watched TV about how it's fun to be home. It's fun to communicate on Zoom to each other. Zoom got so much popularity. What I'm focusing on is that we have a tendency to be complacent, and we're to be told what to do a lot. And it's a trait that's been ingrained in us from birth, and it's a painstaking. I know it's a brainwashing type of situation where we're bred out of us being a sovereign being. And if we were a sovereign being, which means that yes, we can be love and light, yes, but it requires us to, you see someone next to you having a situation, you can't ignore them. You can't say, "Oh well, love and light's gonna handle it, and that's it." Okay. I'm just gonna pray, and that's it, and let that guy go to pot and go to hell, everything in his life, and not do anything about it, and say, "Well, God works in mysterious ways." No, you have to. You see your neighbor suffering, you're gonna go over there and lift his hand up, right? You're gonna see if he needs something, and the only way to do it is to focus on the calamity he's going through. Wow, he lost his car, or his wife just died, or wow, he's being affected terribly by the COVID. He doesn't have any money, so but you're not getting involved because you believe that getting involved with the darkness on the planet brings you dark, and you won't ascend or help everybody ascend, then that's an issue. That's an issue with yourself. That's
Well,
an issue with
yeah. I
with
guess
source and God.
de- de- denying that reality has negative, and not focusing on it, or basically putting it aside. I think it just allows it to grow.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even. You don't even need to go that far. You can just say helping your neighbor, because you'll be in a world, a little bubble, where everything's beautiful, and you won't see what's happening around you. You'll be in the room with the giant elephant, and you'll just see the tail. Another day you'll see the trunk, but you will never see the big elephant in the room that you're
Yeah.
in if you're just dealing with, again, one aspect of reality. There are there's a whole aspect of reality which we have to experience, and one of them is, okay, yes, it's suffering. You have to see the suffering. Another aspect is joy. You have to see the joy. Another
Yeah.
aspect is laughing. There's so many experiences that we have to go through, and when you deny yourself that, you're not a participant in what's going on the planet. You're so far away that you don't even know what the situation is, and it reverts back again to how we look at things. You know, it's like I was telling Dan. We see something happening, and when we look at it, we're not involved with it. 80, let's say 2,000 people, children were saved in New York, let's say, and we look at it. If we have compassion, we'll look at it, have compassion, but that's a reality that we weren't involved in. But how can we be and learn from it? We weren't on that timeline. We weren't with the kids. We weren't pulling them out. But yet we see it, and that timeline's not part of our reality. But how can we at this moment look at it and learn from it? You see?
Yeah.
If you don't look at it, these things exposed to yourself, it's similar to anything else in life. If you want to learn how to drive, you got to watch a lot of people driving, before you say, okay, I think I can drive. Same thing with anything else. What's the best way that we learned how to cook? Watch a bunch of YouTube videos on how to cook. You want to make bread? There's a bunch of videos how to make bread. But if we don't go back and look, you know, and you're not looking in the past, you know that. We're looking at in the now. So when something is happening in this planet, it's the now. So it's kind of like a conundrum. It means that what you're experiencing is not something that is going to happen, or that in the future is going to happen. It's happening now. You have to look at it like, I think I was explaining to Dan about, it was like a train. We can the train is coming towards us. We see it in one color. It looks a certain way. Oh wow! I wonder what passengers are going to be on and all that. And then when the train passes us, oh, I we know who came down off the train, and then it changes colors. Excuse me. It changes colors as it goes away. So the aspects of the train are different, and it's still the train. So that's the version of now, is that we're still looking at the same train. We think it's the future, we think it's the past, but everything you look at is in the now. It's just that we look at it in different perspectives. So we have to understand that once we learn that, then all this nonsense of trying to ascend the planet because and not get involved with nothing doesn't make any sense, because if everything is in the now, then when we look at things, they're just different timelines. We're looking at things, and that's a version that you weren't in, and that's another version you weren't in, but you're given the gifts. It's a gift. You know that, Dan, right? It's a gift to see something. And
Yeah.
imagine we're saying there's a group, the Love and Light group only, that decides not to get involved with any of the calamities on the planet or the darkness and see it. They are not wanting to receive that gift. It's a gift. because to be able to see that and then to have compassion for it, let me tell you something. Your being develops and grows inward like like a burst of a bubble breaking open when it
Yeah.
feels compassion for people. It can't be explained. And then your vibration goes up. It's like I was telling I always post on the Schumann resonance on my channel on Parlor, and I do a lot of focus on it. And one of the things that you can say is when the Schumann hits peak in the amplitudes, the intensity, it doesn't reach intensity because that's how much energy is coming in. It reaches intensity is because the people on the planet are being affected, and that creates a resonance. That's why it's called the Schumann resonance, because it resonates. It's kind of like they strike a bell, and when the bell is struck, the bell being the planet, it's hit with the energy, it's struck, it goes woo, and
Right.
if the
It
people
vibrates
on
and it has a beginning that increases, it
and then
peaks, and
yeah,
it comes back down.
it's a
And that,
bell.
yeah,
And
and that
who do you think is the bell? The planet and the people.
sure.
That is
Well,
what's doing it, because the people
what
get,
do you what do you call the knocker of the bell? What do you knock the bell with? What is that thing called?
that's the energy coming in. That's
Yeah.
it.
I was gonna say we're the people are the knockers.
Oh yeah, we tend to be the ones, yeah. We tend to be the ones that cause the resonance. That's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the if this planet was empty, then the planet would just go, bing, but or ding, a little thump. But if this planet's full of source God people, and for them to wake up, it's gonna go woo, because and depending on how hard they want to knock it, because they've been doing that every other day, so you can count on it. One day they'll hit hard, next day relaxing, so you know that something is doing it. This is not a coincidence. So in lieu of the resonance, you can say that we're being asked to raise our vibration, but we're being asked, all of us, to be involved. This means also the dark and the light. How do you know that you're love and light if you don't see darkness and hatred? You see,
Yeah, you have to be
we're in a
aware. You
we
have
here
to
in
have awareness.
we're in a position where if we ignore one or the other, then you will not ascend. You will stay stagnant. You will not grow as a being. You will know inside the things necessary. Which believe me or not, when you step out of this reality where the darkness is, all you will have left is compassion. You won't remember or know what darkness was, because you are of the light, but you have experienced it, which means that you will not go. It's kind of like,
Well,
I'll,
okay, let me
go ahead. It's a
paint this.
quasi state I'm trying to describe, but go ahead.
Right. So let's say that if you had no reactions to anything, not positive or negative, you're flatline, right? There is no life in it, right? So now there, if if you went to a higher level of energy and you were still experiencing things, right, which would probably be the case, right? You're still going to have experience. There's going to be a back and forth or an up and down. It can be at a higher level. just in like in the Schumann's, it's starting down at seven hertz, and then again at 14, and again at 21. It's at a higher levels. There are different things that are happening, so different events. So there is some experience has to happen, right? But what we want to do is bring this higher energy level up, and to do that, that's where our focus lies in doing good and having a positive outcome. Now, we may have to deal with a lot of negative things. That is coming. It's part of this cleanup that's happening in the world. This is some very dark stuff. It doesn't just disappear, right? They
To
don't
give
want to
you
go.
to give you a recap, we have I've been posting a lot about the dumbs on the planet. Then there's tunnels for the children that are being abducted that go all the way down to the center of the United States and all the way to New York. So there's nothing on this planet that's not being done underground. So on the surface, the deep state, Order of the Black Sun, the Illuminati are the main ones that build that, and the Freemasons. They're not on the surface. So guess what penetrates all places on the planet? The energy coming in. So this is a mover. This is a mover. They're down wherever they're at. I'll claim that scripture in the Bible where it says they want the mountains to fall on us because they're in the mountains and they
Yeah,
want it to fall on them. They're hiding and there's no place to hide. There's
right.
no place to hide for the energy. This energy will resonate every living creature, species on the planet. We're not, this is
Everything
not,
will have a reaction to it, right? It doesn't matter how small, there will be a reaction, and they're dealing in the negative, right? So, but the positive is so overwhelming that the it's like a small stream compared to a mighty river, right? The negative has been trying to develop a mighty river, but it never could accomplish that. That was their goal. That's what they convinced all their followers of. This was the way things are going, and they had all the power because they had all the money, and they had they could control everybody by their mechanisms that they put in place. Uh, you know, the,
technology.
well,
They believe,
I, technology is double-edged sword, but I was really speaking more of the blackmail material that they put on their control subjects, right? So
yeah.
they thought that they had everything in place. They were ready to go to this next level and just bring the people in to the point where everyone will be destitute. Everyone would rely on completely on what they were given, and then they'd be able to thin the herd as much as they wanted just by saying, oh, there's a new virus here. Here's the vaccine. Oh, look, 70% of the people
Yeah,
got it.
they
You
were
know,
they were, if I might say, they were ready to take the people and indoctrinate them and spit them out on the
sure.
surface again.
Yeah,
Where you're,
well, indoctrination has been well underway from the Santa Clarita diet, eating flesh, human flesh, zombie movies, eating human flesh, vampire movies, eating human flesh. All about, this is their road that they were painting was all of this negativity. But they are, even though um, we've experienced all of that conditioning. We could all see what was going on. The well, we all recognize it. We're not all aware, but we're aware of what they're presenting, right? And they're trying to normalize, and they move that over to the window. That they take people so far out, so when they pull back, they said, "Oh well, this is the new norm," right? And how often have they been saying, "Oh, we have the new norm, the new normal," which is not in any way normal.
it's the focus on mainly on everything at the moment with the darkness is to try to make you think that this is the course to take. And it's kind of like they have a herd of 100,000, uh, sheep, and there's only one sheep herder. And you think that there's a million herding you, but there's only one sheep herder. And you think it's a million of them, but there are only one. We need to and step up and realize that there's few of them,
Right.
and it's not a matter. It's a matter of you choosing, but you can't choose if we don't decide to work within ourselves to experience it. One of the things that I've learned for those who study yoga and Buddhism is, which I love that aspect of it, is that you have to know the suffering of someone in order for you to be able to help them. How are you going to help the planet? That should be a question that you should ask yourself. How are you going to help the planet? Well, you have to know how it is suffering. That's what these energies are for you to move things in you. The planet's kind of like ringing and saying, "Listen, listen to what's going on. I see what's going on. Why are not you seeing it?" And there are many that are saying, "Oh, let me let me meditate and push love on the planet." And well, there's a time for that, but there's a time for you gotta step up to your plate and do what's necessary, and realize I'm doing and what he was saying is we need to, and one of the movements down is saying that we need to do, uh, we have we have to do our new norm, if you want to say it that way.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well,
we can
that
take
is it.
their words, we can take their words and use it for us. We have our new norm. You know what our new norm is? We're not going to be slacking off anymore. It's not so you can.
The fact that there's going to be a new normal, there is going to. It's inevitable that there will be a new
Yeah.
normal, and that transition to the new normal, it has to take place. If we look at any aspect of society, whether it is the you know the government size or the direction that like the CP Child Protection Services being able to just take children, or the ability for the central bank system to continue on, is it has to collapse. It's designed to collapse. It will collapse. After that happens, no matter what, there is a new normal. So all of these things that are in place are all ready to now transition. But the new normal is not going to be their new normal. They're trying to claim it using those words, the new normal, right?
Well,
But
well, Dan,
it's not.
haven't they done that with everything in life? Like they've taken the symbols that we hold sacred and they've used it for perverse things. And it's the same symbol. I'll give you an example. The rainbow signifies hope. And so what they do is they put the red first on top, and that means now, okay, now it means another movement. So they take it away from that. They strip it. The swastika, they've stripped it. They've done so many symbols. So and you were talking about there's really the darkness within an inanimate object is only placed by the observer. Again, we go back to the train. We see a train coming. It's, oh wow, it's blue. Oh, it's leaving. It's red. It changes colors, but we are the observer. We don't change the train. The train stays the same. It has the same function. We think that it looks different. We see it different. It's acting different, but it's the same thing. So we need to realize that in objects, symbols, and all that, that's what that is. The whole universe is full of these intricate things that play a part, and we have to, for us to grow as a species, we need to realize that we can't focus on one particular thing and call it what it something. It's gonna you can some like a supernova could clear a whole um, solar system and make it ready for life, and
Yeah,
in another place it could destroy a whole system and clear the life. You see,
yeah,
but it's the
yes.
same.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
brought up the rainbow, like the rainbow path that I have behind me, right? This,
yeah,
this represents, all the different, possible, paths to go, but all come together and then flow in the same direction. So that's why I chose it. I love that image right there. And, if the reaction to people is that it means something else, right? Well, that's what they may have be resonating with is that
yeah.
that imagery or
LGBTYQ. Yes, yeah. I'll say it.
right. So well, yeah. Well, I am. It
I'll be blunt.
just used to
Yeah.
be gay, right? And before for they
And
decided to make a straight left.
we're not
Yeah.
discriminating for it. Whatever.
No, they just the alphabet A B C D, the A B C D E F G H I J K L M N O P Q R S T U V W X Y Z crowd, right? Because they're just going to keep adding letters to keep dividing people, right? So you might as well just include all the letters and then
Yeah,
make up
yeah.
something.
That
Uh,
rainbow is unity
yeah,
versus the complexity when you start putting letters to symbolize yourself. That creates diversity in
well,
separation. So
it's like when you were talking about um, the gematria, right, and the numbers and how all those things are, and you took like the websites that was on and run the numbers on them. So there's a math to the universe, right? And it comes out and we can see it as patterns, right? So you can recognize that and see, and then you start assigning what this particular number sequence represents, right? And see if it is in alignment with a lot of other things that are kind of in the same ballpark. So all heading in the same path, all because there's math to the universe. It's the language of how things are expressed. So it's not just about numbers. It's also about angles and
it
dimensions.
it
And
goes really deep with numbers. Really, it's more like the universe functions with this. When you go to like the Fibonacci sequence, which is a popular one everybody knows, right? The Fibonacci, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 13, all the numbers that we can't get we can only divide by itself. So that creates a situation. Another one is the prime numbers. Why would there be a number you can only achieve? You can only multiply it by one. There's no way of getting to it. You see, a prime number, and that number can go so high. It's almost like the universe is telling us, look, there are situations where this is going to happen, and you can't do nothing about it.
yeah, that's it, right?
That's what
Yeah,
the that's
it's
what a
it's a
prime number is. But we see it as a number, but guess who sees it
well,
as
so
reality?
in
The
timelines or
universe.
reality paths or whatever you want to say is that there's a lot of diversity, right? And they spread out, right? And but they all tend to come back to a point. It's kind of if you understand that, right, and then you try and force your particular reality you're trying to create, which is like what 9/11 was all about, right? The destruction of the Twin Towers, whatever went behind that. There was an attempt to collapse everything into one reality at that point, and then keep things kind of tight, right?
They were trying to
All stuff
create a
that,
singularity. Yeah.
right, like a prime number, right? So this
Well,
is
it's like it's not even, it's like an artificial prime number that they can, uh,
well, just even the date
yeah,
of 9/11, September 11th of that year, there is an aspect of that
there's prime
that
numbers involved. Yes, they,
prime numbers involved. So it's not fake, but what they're trying to do is channel the energy into the direction they want it to go. Now, since it's such the opposite of nature, right? It does it does it's a thud, right? It just it's a dead cat
it,
bounce, right?
it's
It,
like
it,
it flatlines really quick. It starts
yeah,
up and then it flatlines. The energy's not abundant. It's what we,
right.
then it goes back to what you're saying: abundant energy, abundant life, abundant experiences, right?
Yes.
Should we have abundant experiences? Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. Abundant experiences. Go out there and do something. I'll give you an experience that I had. I went to Publix one time and I said to them, I won't, and I'm gonna wear the mask and I want to go in. They said no. They called the cops on me. Later, I talked to the manager and I sent a letter to Publix CEO in Florida. Immediately, the manager called me and apologized. And guess what? I didn't see him anymore, the manager that said I couldn't go in. And guess what happened? They changed the policy of inspecting everybody at the door before they go in. So I
Well, you
did
can't
something.
you can't write a letter and do those things. That's taking action.
So so when I
Look
did
what happened.
what I
You
had
got
to
that person
do,
fired. The whole world changed because you wrote that letter.
and those people now can go in without being inspected if they have a mask. They got to tell them in the store, hey, you don't have a mask. It's no longer at the door, wait in line. I took the lines out of that Publix. So I did something good. That was just one. Then again, they tried to tell me I had to wear my mask above my nose. And I pulled out my exempt letter, which is very similar to the one you got, an exempt letter. And I said, well, okay, you're gonna have to sign this, and this ADA says that I can sue you for up to $150,000. When I said that, and then I said that the other manager was fired for doing the same thing, that manager, that assistant manager, went and said, no problem, do, and left. So if you don't confront, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't want to confront because they have, it's a fear factor, but we got to
Right.
overcome the fear factor. We
Well,
got to,
there's another aspect of it other than fear. I think it's more hopelessness that they're
yeah,
going up
yeah.
against the machine, right? That it's a solid that they can't get through, no matter what energy they put into it, and they're so tired and they're so down in the dumps that they can't muster the energy to do it. They're poisoned, so all of this is meant to keep people docile from
But
not
but Dan,
you know
realize this. What are they doing on TV? They're doing it subliminally. What does that tell you? They're not
no,
going straight out. Look, the other day I watched a commercial, and it was a 1, 2, 3 commercial for a drug. And they went 1, 2, 3, and then blah 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 1, 2, 3, and blah 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 1, 2, 3, and I go, oh my God, that's the mark of the beast. Corey, 666. And then another commercial I saw, they were going 6 times, and then I go 6 times, and then 6 times, and I go, oh my God, that's the mark of the beast. So all the time we're being subliminally. So they're not telling us straightforward. We are combating against the the
Yeah.
the
Well,
subliminal
it's
confusion. It's
right. Yeah,
subliminally. It's not
it's programming. It's done on multiple levels, all to get people resonating with it, to basically just go along, right? Just for it to be a simple slide down that path,
easy,
and that
easy to throw a wrench. Easy to throw a wrench in it.
sure, yeah,
Easy, easy. All it
because it's
takes
not
is
natural. Because it's
it,
not natural, it's easy to basically shatter that illusion. It really is. Most people, if they just start waking up, it all disappears. I was trying to think about where we're at currently with how many people are awake. How many people really know to the extent at which how bad the situation is, that the people in power were put in place and being puppeted by blackmail systems, right? How many people know that? And that it involves children and harming children. How many people knew that 1 year ago compared to today? 1 year ago, I'd say we're probably maybe around 5%. Now we're probably up to 30%. And that's really, in all systems, when they basically talk about how you need to change the system, you need to get about 3% of the people that are really dedicated to it, and then 30% that are going to follow that 3%. Then you'll change everything. I think we're past that point, and it's inevitable at this point that everything changes to get rid of this horrible system that's been around the world. It's not going to happen in a snap of a finger. It's not going to happen after the election. All right, so it's going to take you know decades to really
well, yeah, I'll tell you
take.
something that yeah, there's so much stuff that's involved, but we can't be thinking those things. Everyone has to do their part. What that little bit that Dan does, that little bit that Tank does, the little bit that Kim, her friends, her people she knows, the little bit that I did at Publix, the little bit that I did other places I go to, that little bit just adds to it. And that's where the energy increases and the resonance gets
Yeah,
stronger.
yeah. No, we're so far. We're so far of directing this energy. All the videos that we did. Over 470 straight in a row. We're really this made a difference in resonating in how we act, how we do things. That now we're on to making a news platform. We're on to challenging things in different ways.
Well,
I'm involved in a project here in the Philippines, right, to help make some positive changes. So
yes.
these things just start to take root and grow, right, from a small seed. These little tiny things that we're doing,
And the
getting on.
resonance,
Hey, like the
yeah,
video. Oh, and little.
yeah.
Wait a
The
minute. Here's a little
resonance
side.
is going up, up, up,
Okay,
up. It's
check this
getting
out.
peaking.
Check this out. All right. Uh, my YouTube, they're shadow banned and so on. Nothing's happened. It's just I tell things on my YouTube channel and I say, hey, look, it was actually not growing at all. Solid zero. Right, for
Huh.
months and months and months, and then then it was one a day, literally one a day. It was for month after month, same number, 28 new subscribers a month. Every month,
Well,
28. I mean, that's not normal. That's dialed in. But guess what? No videos for 2 weeks, but posting on Parlor, my 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 videos on Parlor, and my Parlor account is growing and growing. And guess what? Now, since those people are not in the shadow banned control sphere of YouTube, Now it gained like 140 people last week.
There is the I can actually say from feeling the channel, and it has, you've had probably hundreds of thousands of people, and yet it's the same thing with me. I would post some outrageous videos and expose a lot, and I would have only 100 people and nobody watching the videos. So I'm going, well, it's impossible. I put something like this out, nobody watches and nobody sees it. So they're not putting it as clickbait, which is what I call, advertising it.
Well,
They're
they
not
don't,
doing anything.
they don't recommend it. That's it.
They don't
What they do,
recommend it.
and then they also
Nobody,
they don't give notices to the people that did subscribe. They
they don't.
unsubscribe people. So all of these actions that they've been taking, have made this shadow ban, or what is called digital ghettos, right? You have your own little envelope that they allow you to basically exist within, and those people that are really dedicated. So our videos were always getting, 1,000 to 1,500 people. That's where it comes down to over the last 6 months on a daily basis. 1,000 to 1,500 people will watch these videos.
I think
Now,
it was.
is that the
I
real
think it
number?
was more. No, it's not the real
Well,
number.
yeah,
No. Yeah.
I can tell that it's more. I mean, I see signs of it all the time. How many people are in the chat compared to how many people are currently viewing.
Well,
More
I can
people
give
on the
you some
Well,
input.
10 times more people in the
Yeah.
chat than there are purple viewing. Of course, you can't be in the chat unless you are viewing. So there's something obviously that's not working there properly. And
The
but
the
this is just part
everywhere.
of these changes, right? So I see Parlor having a major effect on being able to put out information. One of the videos I did put out is now at 12,000 views. So that there's
Look at that. That's like what? You didn't
yeah,
have that before. So
and
yeah.
well, and I'm not in it. It's just like I just posted it like 2 weeks ago. I'm not even in it, right? It's just a video I put together. It was on my channel, and it's got to 12,000 views. I've had videos going to 40,000 and 60,000 and 80,000, here and there, right? They just kind of break through somewhere, right? And but
I have the same with
anyway,
BitChute. With my videos, I got videos with hundreds of views, and I wouldn't even go past 30 views on my channel. How can that be? And it's not.
yeah.
They're not promoting it. They're not putting it out. And you know
So
what?
let,
There's
let me. You mentioned BitChute. So let me just say, my intention was to start putting more and more videos on BitChute, um, but I've changed my mind on two reasons. Number one, in QAnon, they basically said, don't retreat from these platforms. Don't retreat from
yeah.
YouTube. Well, go ahead and set up other places where you can have as a fallback, right? And that's fine. So I put one tank video over there. I put another one over there. It's more on what's going on with Rotten David Steele instead of Robert David Steele. Rotten.
Yeah. And
And
no, I
so
understand that. Yeah, I did the same. I still have my channel, but I don't have that much any videos on it.
So we need to just stay engaged here. So, and plus we have the United News channel, and we're going to be able to put videos there. So I'm just going to wait until I can put my videos there, and and still put them on YouTube and let it go. But uh, we need to really make this effort to make something happen, and we are. And this is the good thing. I'm
Don't don't be afraid You're
I'm not
talking
afraid.
to someone. No, I mean the people listen. I love you, Dan. Don't let one of the basic things that is inbred in us is fear. We have to take that fear and slaughter it. Take it and butcher it. Get rid of it because it's gonna always not create balance in you. It'll only create. Remember that word
Well,
in the scriptures where they say fear God. That was put in there by not not God or even the Messiah or anything. That word fear God. No, that was not placed there like a lot of other things. We cannot
you
use
know,
that
the
as a
other the
defense.
other aspect, you know, the religion that we are facing off against, right, has two components to it. Well, two main focus. One at a government level, and that's called communism, right?
Yeah.
And the other is, you can say Luciferian, you can say satanic, you can say whatever, but it goes back to these ancient systems, Pan,
Marduk. Yeah.
Marduk,
Right.
Baal, right? It's,
All the way
what
down to Elul
that,
and
yeah. So whatever that aspect is, that's basically
two
late
brothers.
that is making a uh, uh, just to make it simple, we can call it satanic worship. We can call it that, but these things have been there. They've been put into place. They are the opposite, right? They focus on the opposite, and the and it's so counter to than what is actually nature, is that people are really end up reacting to it initially in revulsion, right? And then they get convinced to convert and think of it as the opposite, right? Whatever the dogma that's preached, whatever that is. But the reality is that can never really hold. It will always be dissipate. It will always go
Excuse
away
me.
because it is not nature. You know, the aspect of focusing on death, right? We have to focus on life, not focus on death, right? And
Yes,
because that's
the
where,
I was given this viewpoint the other day and I loved it. It said the whole planet's full of death. You know, we bury everything, we bury the dead, we then the trees absorb the death, and we eat the death from the trees. And then again, we die and we put it back in the ground. The trees eat it up. Everything's like a cycle of death. You know what we need to bring to this planet? And this is why the planet's resonating. It's telling us this has to stop. We need to bring life to the planet. We need to
yeah,
bring beings that live and they're not on this 80-year cycle of death.
yeah.
We're supposed to be hundreds of years. So, you know, what was the recorded dates of some of the Old Testament
Yeah,
uh,
Methuselah was 1,000 years
Anunnakis? They
old.
were thousands of years.
Anunnaki. Yeah, well, we get into that realm. We start talking about um,
You know,
uh,
the
that's
Moses
yeah,
and
hundreds of thousands
Noah.
of years, or unending life, at a certain point, whatever mechanisms there are. You know, the reality is that we will be able to, crack the code on extending life. We will have unending life at some point, right? Because we'll just renew our bodies.
My
And
question is,
other than some
yeah,
kind of horrible accident, that happens, we will be able to live, pretty much, ongoing.
but does it
It's not
happen
about
by us not doing what needs to be done? It doesn't happen.
no,
Yeah,
no.
we
We have these things that are already underway. But I'm not talking about, uploading your consciousness into a cyborg body. No, I'm talking about our bodies, growing young, growing young, right? Growing healthy, growing to be invincible to disease.
We're not
This
talking
is
about technology. It's not technology. We're
well.
talking of
I'm not ruling out technology. I'm saying as in science, right? Being able to, help
yeah,
get us to that point.
science. Yeah,
Or
that's the
yeah,
correct word.
I'm not
Yes.
talking about again. I don't know. Maybe maybe there is a physical chamber that you would like lay in this med bed or whatever, and suddenly it helps realign all the light in your body, right? And reflects a fractal image of yourself in perfect health at a certain age, and then boom, there you are, and it's instantaneous. I don't know how we get there. I just know that's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Yes. Yes.
we're
We are.
we've got a lot. We've got a lot going for us. We're however, I'm always amazed at the people I find around the world, with big hearts, right? Want to interact and want to hang out and social interact. Just think they want to keep us separate. Social distancing. Ugh, absurdity that they've created. So,
And if you really think of it, you're not really separate from anybody. As far as you want to go, you'll still be next to the person because you're gonna breathe the same air. The air. In a room, in a 10 by 10 room, you won't be able to breathe more than I think half an hour. So there's a lot of air you breathe, and you're gonna exhale a lot. And for you to, if you think that you're not breathing your neighbor's air at any given moment of the year, you are, because at any moment, just a little bit, you might breathe in.
so in every breath you take, you're taking in untold numbers.
The
It could be
collective.
trillions, billions of small animals, bacteria, uh, pieces and fragments of RNA viruses, right? All sorts of stuff that it's part of the environment. We can't get out of it. To think that we can is insanity, right?
And yeah,
Even the aspect of one of the funny things is that even the aspect of masks in surgery, it's been determined that they have no effect, right?
hmm
So but they keep going and they keep doing it because it becomes the protocol. It becomes the way you do things, right? It's
it's their
it's
new norm.
it, it,
They established it,
it's
and that's it. It's
yeah,
done.
yeah,
They
yeah.
can't. So
So they
just
can't
what I
undo it, right? They could replace it with something better. So I had a great idea. Right, this is perfect. All right. So I've showed a image before of a mask that has this. It's kind of a mesh, right? It's a very like a screen door, so it's very big hole. So it's not impeding your breath whatsoever. But you're going to end up depositing, your moisture onto the mask anyway as your breath. But it covers your whole face like this, right? But it's a mesh. So I thought, it'd be really great, right, to make these, right, where like a bug zapper, they got the blue light on, and
yeah, it has a little infrared filter where it goes to the blue
yeah.
and kind
So
of
I
like
put it in the mask, right, so that it's fully open, but the light that all the things have to pass through would end up killing any of the insects or the rogue
yeah,
biology that's
you
trying
would
to go.
exhale and it would kill all your
Yeah,
stuff, and then you'd breathe
yeah,
in, it'd kill. It'd be
yeah,
double good, double good. Yeah,
yeah. Isn't that
exhaling
a great
in.
idea?
Yeah. So why won't they do that?
No,
No, they
I,
got
I
this
think that.
contraption you put over yourself. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like,
Looks like
now
it's
I'm
like you're an
safe.
like you're a bionaut
You're
instead of an
in one of
astronaut. You're a
those
bionaut. Yeah.
biospace
Hey,
suit. Yeah.
Lazaro, I think it's probably a good place to
Good
break.
time to break and. Okay.
But tomorrow maybe we can cover the other topic we were talking about, which was timelines and
Okay.
the Mandela effect. Maybe we could take up that next time.
Okay. Then thank you all for being here. I appreciate, and many blessings to all. And remember, always rely on your heart to do all your decisions, and you'll be okay.
That's a good
Love
watch
you
word.
all. Bye bye.
All right. And everyone, please visit me on Parlor. Let's keep building that. It's having an effect even on YouTube. Amazing. Breaking through the shadow banning. And also, let's please join me in the wwg1wga.love website. It's also growing. And also in Gold Grain Coin. Anything that you do helps out. You can also make a contribution. So all of this information is down below in the description. And everything is wonderful when you're participating. So take some small steps. Until tomorrow. See you.